So the old cosmic spindrifter, telling memories of growing up with the railroad, the Milwaukee Road. We moved to Rainier, Washington. My dad actually ran the station there, and there's a little tiny station in Rainier, and the Milwaukee Road would put people, families up in the station houses. And Dad had to patrol a certain area of the track and keep it, and hire people that would work on the gangs. One night, a train had stopped there. And, I believe they had a GP9 diesel there, and they invited us aboard. We're looking all over the inside the engine. Of course, I'm just a kid and really hopped up about trains, have been all my life. I was born almost on a train. In fact, I was born in Ritzville, Washington, because the train was parked not far from there. It was the only hospital. I'm sure it's not there now. So then we moved to Everett, Washington. Now, of course, I'm really into trains. And my dad worked in a yard where they put the cars that were needed to be cleaned down a certain track. And as they were switching and pushing the cars down the track, I ran over and jumped on the rails, the handholds on the car, and ride it down because I saw the brakeman do that. So I thought, well, maybe I'm going to be a brakeman too. So I got yelled at pretty good that day. And I remember we had a kind engineer, a big hogger, we call it engineers, and a really nice guy, and he offered to take me up to Cedar Falls. Remember it, we had a track there. Man, I jumped on the track on the chance, so my dad took me down to the yards as the train was going to leave, and I got on board, and they said, gave me some safety rules and things. And the thing about that Everett, from Everett to Cedar Falls track was we crossed a bridge, and this bridge was an old wooden bridge. This is classic. I'm just thankful I even had the opportunity, because as we went across this old wooden bridge, very slowly, you could just hear all the timbers creak and things like that. It was quite an experience. I'm sure that bridge isn't there anymore. Oh, Milwaukee Road isn't even there anymore. So time came for graduating from high school, and the Milwaukee Road was hiring people to work to replace ties on this Cedar Falls line, because those are really old ties, and so we lived in the extra gang cars, probably the same ones I lived in as a kid. And we went up we go out in the morning on a little putt-putt car, a little patrol car for the railroad, and 6 or 8 of us in this car. And then we'd go up the track, and it's kind of really neat, except we'd have to work when we got there, but it's very peaceful, very wonderful way up in the Cedar Falls mountain. The mountains up to Cedar Falls. So we were working, and then they yell out, "Hot rail, hot rail." So what's that mean? This is the train's coming. So we're in a ditch, so we have to lean up against the side of the road, the side of the ditch, as the train came down. And they're going down hills, so they got their brakes on. We're only like 2 feet away from these cars as they're coming down. The brakes are all squealing and making smoke. And, boy, that was a classic. That was a classic, yeah. So we replaced like 452 ties in one day. That was a big deal. And in the cookhouse, we had real steaks for dinner that night. They fed us good up there. First started shoveling, I'm like 18 years old, 17, 18. And, so my first day, I'm out there shoveling this ballast. Well, ballast is very heavy material, very heavy. And I'm just digging into it and big shovels of it. And I said, "You better slow down. You buddy, that stuff's really heavy. And I said, oh, no, I'm going to be a professional wrestler. I'm really strong. I can handle it. Well, I wish I listened to their advice. The next morning I was so wore out I couldn't get out of bed. I had to call in sick. Yeah, those were days gone by. I had the opportunity of staying overnight in the Cedar Falls station. Now, the Cedar Falls station was a layover for the trains. Cedar Falls was on the main line of the Milwaukee Road, and railroad employees would stay overnight, and they had a little beanery there, cookery. I call it the beanery in the railroad business. And one night, for some reason, I had the opportunity to stay overnight up there. Now that station is gone too, but man, it was really an experience up there in the mountains and the station. And they said, come outside with us. And so I went outside, and all these raccoons were living under the station house. They'd come out and they'd feed them and stuff. And yeah, those are days gone by. So one night in Rainier, the train had stopped, and I guess they had to get orders or something. They invited us aboard, and we were looking out the engine. And later that night, that same train went up the rails, and they had an accident. And they came back and got my dad, and one guy had a big bandage on his head. Dad put him in his car and put red flags over the front of his car on the headlights. This is way back, maybe a 49 Chevy or something. Away they went to the hospital in Olympia. Thanks for watching. Cosmic Spindrifter. Please subscribe.